a good question, and the Secretary has not made any specific estimates on that.
韩教授，
我想啊，这个美国次贷危机啊是没有到头，它的这个后果还会慢慢显示出来。我甚至于认为它会改变美国人的这个消费方式，他们零存款、零储蓄，然后还大量的借贷，然后借贷了以后再次贷，这样的一种生活方式能持续吗？请问。
On the U.S. side, our citizens need to save more and consume less. And in the case of China, it is important that China do the opposite. That is, have stronger domestic consumption and a somewhat lower savings rate. So in that sense, I think there will be a change in specific consumption patterns.
你讲了一句话啊，就是让美国人呢多存点钱，少花点钱，让中国人呢少花点钱，多存存点钱，多花点钱啊。
Right.
那个，你能不能跟我们讲，就是美国政府在这方面你们做了什么？
The one question I think, Victor, I'd like to be able to pose to you and also to these individuals, in terms of how the Chinese can save less and consume more, what do you think would be the most effective policy-making steps that could be taken by the Chinese government to be able to achieve that objective? And among those items are being able to address issues with respect to health care financing and health care insurance, addressing issues on pension savings, that is, being able to have savings vehicles that would be available to them. I think those are a couple of items that would be important. The other thing to remember in terms of, and one of the reasons why we think it is so much in China's interest for financial sector liberalization, is to be able to make sure that Chinese households are able to have access to investment vehicles that will be able to provide them with higher yields than they currently are able to get, for example, in their on interest savings in their bank accounts, to be able to help them be able to provide a mechanism to buy a home and to provide for the education of their children, and also retirement savings vehicles that would be available to them. And if those are provided, it may create a circumstance where they feel less of a need to be able to save at the very high rates that currently apply.
薛先生，
那个我是做那个家用纺织品的，那么也对美国的那个零售市场呢也比较关注。前一段时间我也去美国也看了一些零售市场，而且也听到我们这个行业的很多的企业是外销美国的，但是呢，就是说美国的关掉了好几个零售的那个连锁店，这样的话呢，中国的很多企业呢进入破产保护期，这样的话呢，很多企业就收不到钱。如果这也是实际上是次贷危机所造成的。那不知道如果次贷危机再这样下去，我们这个钱一个是关那么多交个欠款怎么收，或者说以后是不是关掉的更多了？就是纺织品这方面。
In any kind of dynamic economy where there are changes that are occurring, there will be sometimes adverse impacts on companies and workers, and those are difficult and painful. It's one of the reasons why we believe it has been so important, and I know we're going to be talking about the RMB later on, but just a brief comment there, to make sure that the exchange rate between China and the United States truly.
那么我想知道这个鲍尔森部长心目中间，人民币升值升到什么时候就达到他要求的那个结果了？我们从那个时候8.3的时候说应该升值，到现在的时候还要应该升值，就是到底这个在心目中间有没有一个鲍尔森部长心目中间有一个理想的那个结果，说升到那时候可以了，别升了，有没有？
The exchange rate will be determined exactly by the market.
所以你更重视的是那个影响的机制，而不是一个具体的那个水平和数字。
Correct. I'm not smart enough to know exactly what that number is, and only what we refer to as Mr. Market really knows. That is ultimately in terms of what would be determined by the market.
你觉得中国政府如果做了什么样的事，你们就觉得说这个就属于 have a good relation with Mr. Market？ 就是说应该做什么样的东西，在你看来说，这个就是跟市场算比较靠谱，比较跟市场之间是由市场机制来决定的。就是说目前有哪一方面的东西，就是站在美国政府的角度来觉得是不满意的，因为这样的话你影响了市场机制发挥的作用。主要是对于什么东西
But we have noticed in particular the accelerated pace of appreciation that has occurred since last October. We find that accelerated pace of appreciation significant and welcome, and we hope that that pace of appreciation since last October will continue. We also think this is tremendously important from China's perspective. Really two reasons. One, it will provide greater tools for the Chinese government in terms of tools for the People's Bank of China, the PBOC, for price stability, financial stability, and being able to control inflation, which I know is a very important issue here. It will, as I indicated earlier, it will also make sure that investors and companies within China are able to receive accurate market signals as to where it is that they should be investing. And while there are some specific instances where there are companies that have had challenges because of the appreciation that has occurred with the RMB, I would note that China's economy continues to grow very robustly. And for the reasons I described, further appreciation of the RMB is very much in China's interest.
我想如果假定说这个人民币的升值只有您说的这个好处的话，我想中国人肯定很高兴的就那么去干了。他之所以不那么干，肯定也是有一些问题。在你看到的范围内，假定说人民币像您所期望的那样升值的话，或者达到用那样的机制升值的话，你觉得最有可能它产生的负面作用或者它的问题